Hello
Hello,
out there.
everyone.
Good evening to all of you attending this after Tokyo Summit webinar. Hello, Jonas. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah. And hello, Tommy.
Hi,
to
how are
you.
you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you. And you?
Oh, excellent up in the north.
Yeah. And our super technicians, Fleming, how are you doing? Welcome.
Hey, good. Good to see you all.
Yeah. What a fantastic day today. We launched a lot of new products and it was very exciting. Some of you might have seen the Tokyo X Summit, but we will do a short recap tonight, 1.5 hours. It will be quite compressed, so we will actually go strictly forward, but tell you a bit about the news and give you an idea of what's actually happening and coming in the near future. I will do the introduction like I'm doing here, and I will do a recap of the specs and the products and some of the pricing here in the Nordics. And afterwards, we will have a presentation from Charlene. Charlene is unfortunately not with us tonight because she had a knee operation and she's probably doped by painkillers, so she will come back. But we have a pre-recorded presentation from her where she will give her greetings and tell about the 33mm XF lens. After that one, we will have Jonas Rask, and he will tell us about the 23 and a little bit of the 33. And in between, you can participate with some questions and answers. And I think that, Fleming, you might tell the audience how they can participate while they're loading up and how they can join actively tonight.
Yeah, there's a chat, and I'm sure all of you have already found it. And you are welcome to chat away all you like. Be nice, be fun, be happy, and ask all the questions you want. I will pick out questions along the way, and then we have little segments for Q&A where I will ask your questions to the other wonderful people on here. So just fire away questions in the chat, and yeah, that's it.
And we haven't forgotten you, Tommy, because after the questions and answers between, after Jonas or in between, we will have a glance at look at the GFX system, and you will tell us all about the new GFX camera and what it actually can perform. It will be really exciting, and you have some exciting pictures too. So, and after that, hopefully we have some spare time to do some more questions and answers, and then we have an idea of what is happening in the future. We will follow up with some more into-depth webinars after this in the during weeks and months. So don't hesitate and follow us. If you don't get all the answers today, we'll answer them later on. So let me start maybe a bit boring facts and so on and run through what happened today. So I will put on the presentation and walk you through some of the specifications and pricing, etc. on what happened today and what we launched today. We have the GFX 50S Mark II, the 35-70mm GF, 33mm, 23, and some rope mapping to go through. And I will actually head out with GFX. We actually launched GFX in 2017 with the GFX 50S, and already the year after we came with this GFX 50R rangefinder style like the medium format camera, and both cameras were actually taken really good care of from you out there, and it's all over the world, and the GFX system has grown and grown and grown. So it left us with what to do after these two 50 million pixel cameras. We actually, in 2019, launched the GFX 100, and we stepped up to 100 million pixel, and that was huge, and at a pricing that's never been seen before within medium format. At the same time, Capture One joined us, and we joined them, and you could post-process with Capture One along with Lightroom and other system, and that actually turned the table around and got us into the professional world really with the medium format. Again, after many years away from that medium format market. And then to this year, 2021, we launched another 100 million pixel camera, the GFX 100S. And that was a game changer in always, it is an ultimate success. It is more than full frame. It's image quality. Was small size. It was impressive IBIS, quick autofocus on a medium format, continuously shooting 5 pictures on a medium format, and great 4K quality in video. So everything packed down in a small house and cage, and with all the features from smaller and other types of cameras that was out there, but in medium format size, and great value for money. This was a new choice above full frame for professionals and enthusiasts, and the professionals especially has taken really good care of this and taken it into their working space, and it's amazing how it actually sells and lives. So fantastic launch. But today we launch a smaller one. For some of you people, maybe 100 million pixels is way too much pixels and too big, and your laptop cannot handle it, and you might search for something less. So we actually are launching the 50 million S Mark II full frame, not full frame, but medium format camera. And we did like this. We actually took the GFX 100 and we took the 51.4 megapixel medium format sensor, 33 by 44, and then we put on top of that a new IBIS stabilization in the camera and a new shutter on top of that, and then we got the 50S Mark II. It is actually a total copy of the GFX 100S. You have the same dials and the same displays, monitors, jacks, headphone types, etc., etc. And we also have the W235 battery and the double charger you can actually buy beside this one. So you have all these features like you have in the 100. So it could be a really good camera for enthusiasts with a less need of pixels, but still need the resolution and the dynamic range and etc. That's actually in these medium format cameras. So we also put in the X processor 4. It's in the GFX 100 and the 100S, and it makes something happen with this camera. And together with the IBIS 6.5 stops now, 0.5 stops faster or better than the GFX 100, a smaller focal plane shutter, improved autofocusing, tracking, eyes and face detection, low light priority. I think it was from 1 to now minus 3.5 EV, huge step. We have got the mode dial controls where you can actually program 6 programs on the mode dial, so you can quickly change the settings without changing into the menu and waste time on that one. Very, very handy and professional. And of course, we have put in the multi-shot pixel shift, so you can actually pull out 205 million megapixels in this camera. And if you have a huge drone, you can put it up in a drone, and you can have the gimbal support too on this one. The pricing for a 70% larger sensor, more resolution, and bokeh and medium format is maybe what's actually hitting really hard this time. It's really cheap for a medium format camera. It's aligned with the high-end cameras that's on the market today, or even cheaper. You have 45,000 Norwegian and Swedish. You have 4,399 euro, or less than 33,000 Danish for the house. And that's impressively low pricing for such a camera. And suddenly everyone can actually participate. On top of that, we also launched a new lens that could fit this 50S Mark II, a 35 to 70 millimeters. And it was meant to be a kit, and on top of that camera, and make it small and handy. And we put on a very silent and fast autofocus on this one. And it's a 35 to 70, it's a 28 to 55 millimeters in 35 millimeters equivalent format. You have a minimum focus breathing for movie recording. You have no aperture ring switch, and you have a huge advantage in a low weight on only 440 grams, and a price tag that is below 1,100 euro. It's really cheap, and below 8,000, below 11,000, it's a really good price tag. We also have this as a kit below 50,000 Norwegian SEK and way below 5,000, 4,899 euro and 36,999 for the Danish market. You have to look up, if you're from Germany or somewhere else, you have to look up in your own market what's the pricing for this product in your country. It might vary up and down a bit. We also announced a roadmap for the GF mount for the GFX system, and we will do a larger aperture prime standard lens, a 55mm 1.7, really light 1.7. That's fantastic. We love that. And we'll also come, I know that Flemming will love this, a ultra wide angle zoom lens, 20 to 35, and that's also much appreciated out in the world with among the photographers. And least but not last, the tilt and shift. We are actually developing a tilt and shift, and that will come handy for a lot of photographers doing landscapes, architecture, product pictures, and so on. It will be amazing to get that, and it will be first time in Fuji history that we have a Fuji tilt and shift. It will come. And then we of course have the X series, so we won't drop that out because we have a lot of GFX, and today we announced the 33mm 1.4. It's a really fast, really sharp, really high-end lens that doesn't replace the 35mm. It will continue, so we still have the 35mm is a legend within our lenses, but this is on top, and it will actually work really well with those who needs the speed and the crispiness and the bokeh and everything. And it's really fast, so look forward to that. And the price tag is 9,899 euros. And if I can move myself somehow, I could actually maybe replace myself. Could you do that, Flemming? So we can see the Danish pricing. We will do it. I think it's 6,499. Thank you, Flemming. So, and on top of that, we also launched the 23mm 1.4. Also weather resistant like the 33 and the previous 18mm, and these three lenses have the same size. And Jonas will talk about this. This is also a huge step upwards and forwards from the older lens we have, and this would replace the old 23mm. It's high-end quality. It will have the same price as the old lens, so it won't rise in price, and you have a fantastic sharpness, bokeh, and it's really fast, and Jonas will tell us everything about that. So from 1,549 and 7,499 Danish, so it's a good price, same price as the old lens. So now we have a new generation Mark II lenses, and they are prepared for some new stuff, and we saw a glimpse of that. We will go after sharpness and have some projects that we are actually heading at, and these are prepared for a new generation, higher resolution, higher speed, everything. So this will be the next generation, and these Mark II lenses will be on top on some of the lenses and replacing some of the lenses, and will be the future. We had the 10-24 and the 27-2, so, and all of them will be weather resistant when we upgrade them. It's fantastic. We also have a roadmap for the lens X series, and you can see what we actually have launched already. 27, 7300, 18, 23, 24, 33 now, but we will update with a new lens. We will go wider and longer. It will be 150 to 600 millimeters, and that's the first time ever we had such a long lens in the Fuji history and the X series. So that will be a new into the game. Looking forward to see that one too. And we experience more and more video coming, so we have to make these lenses both doing stills and video, and we will launch an 18 to 120 video lens that's specific, aimed at video, but can't shoot still pictures, but that will be more focused on video. So a new era coming, and very exciting. So this is the facts around the new products. The 50S Mark II, we'll go into that, the 3570, the 3323, and the lens roadmaps. So I think we will actually head out and look into what Charlene has to say about the 33mm. Afterwards, we will take Jonas, and in the end, we will actually have Tommy Simonsen on the GFX. So I'll hand the stage to you, Fleming, and introduce the next, and that will be Charlene, who is unfortunately not here, but we have all her material, and thank you for that. So get better out there with your knee and your operation. Looking forward to see you soon, Charlene.
Yep, and I'll just hand the mic, so to speak, right over to Charlene, who will talk about the new 33. Take it away, Charlene.
Hey everyone, it's Charlene Winfred. I'm really sorry I can't be here with you today, but I'm actually recovering from very, very recent knee surgery while this webinar is going on, so I've had to record my bit for you today. But thank you all for coming. I appreciate you taking the time. So over the course of July, I've had the absolute pleasure of testing the new 33 f1.4. As some of you may know, I am a long-time user of the XF35, the good old 35 that came out in 2012. So I've been using it since 2012. It's been all over the world with me. It's done all kinds of shooting along with me as well, and I love it like an extension of my hand. So I, for one, was really excited to hear that there was an update. If you can even call it the new lens an update, because it's quite a different beast. But enough of that, let me show you what I have for you today. Hey everyone, it's Charlene Winfred. I'm an ex-photographer from Singapore, and today I'm here to talk to you about this. The brand new 33mm f1.4. But wait, why am I doing this again? Oh right, I was also supposed to talk to you about this. The classic XF 35mm f1.4. The very first time I got the 35 f1.4, I thought it was on the X Pro body, it was the most beautiful camera kit around. Today, that lens looks like this. So I'm not sure if you managed to see how beat up this lens is, but for me, that is the mark of a beautiful piece of gear. Not because I particularly like beat up looking gear, but I do appreciate kit that makes me want to pick it up. Every time I look at this X Pro and XF35 combination, I want to pick it up, I want to go shoot something, and that's what I've done with it for pretty much almost 10 years now. I got the X Pro 1 with the original 35mm f1.4 back in 2012. A little while later, in early 2013, I took off on a journey around the world that I was flat out unprepared for. I had no idea where I was going or where I would end up. There was tons of exploration. Everything was new and fascinating, and I tried to capture it all with this one lens. I'm still using this old 35mm f1.4 lens, almost 10 years on. To date, most of my work, both personal and professional, is made with this lens. So I was a little bit excited at the thought that it was getting an update. I know, the new 33mm is technically not the same glass. A different focal length, weather sealing. internal linear motor, and a different way of rendering the picture means it's a different beast to the old 35. But what a beast! How do I feel about the size of the lens? So when I got it, I was surprised at how much bigger it was than the original 35. I love the original 35 because it is small. It's small, and so it's light as well. So the entire kit in my bag is really light, it's really small, and it's nothing to move around, and it doesn't look like anything threatening. So you just look like a tourist with a camera. The new 33 is a fair bit bigger, so I was a little surprised at how much bigger it was. I thought I would feel it, but aside from the fact that it, takes up more space and it's a little heavier, of course, I was actually surprised by how much I didn't notice the size once I started shooting with it. I am quite sensitive to how my gear feels in my hands, so using say XF35 compared to the XF56 or a bigger zoom like the XF16 to 80, which I have, feels very, very different in my hand, and it does affect the way that I shoot. With this one though, I thought it was really interesting that the moment I started shooting with it, it kind of all thoughts of all sensitivity to the feel of the gear in my hand sort of vanished. And I think that's got something to do with the fact that that slightly bigger, that stouter barrel, the bit longer barrel is also easier for me to grip. The 35 is really lovely because it's really small, but also that means when you hang on to it, I have reasonably big hands for a girl, is sometimes it just, how do I say this properly? Sometimes it's just hard to get a good grip on something, particularly as I did in the early days of having the 35 f1.4, particularly when I had to manual focus. Because having a good grip on that barrel is essential when you're, say, shooting a rodeo or something, and you have to react quickly with the lens. It's nice to have a lens where you can have a solid grip on the barrel and you can move it properly. So I think that's what the new 33 gives me. It's bigger, obviously, it's heavier, obviously, but it feels very good in my hand. It can get a solid grip on it. You can, I did actually manually focus on a lot of the pictures that I took, just to see what it would be like. I've had an ongoing project for the longest time now, shooting plants at very, very close range, with. Oh, and by the way, that's one of the other things that I really like about it, the 20 centimeter minimum focusing range. I really, really like that. So when you're shooting things like macro, it helps to be able to autofocus because you can then ensure the accuracy of what you want in focus. I like the process of manual focusing because it's a slower pace. Shooting macro for me is a nice meditative thing to do anyway. So I do tend to manual focus when I shoot plants and things like that. So I really enjoyed the size of this thing when I had to do that sort of work, because it just made life a little easier, It was easy to get a grip on the focusing barrel. It was easy to. I didn't feel like the camera was cramped on my face. So I actually do quite enjoy the size of the lens. I feel like it's a good compromise between the small size and the necessary internals that you need to make a lens as high performing as this one's. That was the very first thing that I tested out when I got the lens in my hand. I can't say enough about the bokeh of the 33. It's quite distinctly different from that of the 35. It's more interesting. It's a lot smoother. I can't believe how smooth the graduation of focus to out of focus areas are. I think the one thing that I can say is that I love the bokeh. I freaking love it so much. It's so beautiful, and combined with just how pin sharp this lens is when you take photos of stuff like, I shouldn't say stuff. When you take photos of things like plants or anything still life or anything that has sharp edges, just the combination of the two is just ridiculously pleasing. I cannot say enough about how good this bokeh is. So I've mainly used this lens for street, but what I really wanted to do with it was portraiture, and specifically portraiture with a flash. And I couldn't think of any better subject than my friend Dennis. Dennis is a fellow street photographer. He's also into fashion and has an incredibly distinctive style. I had no particular plans for these sets of images. I've shot with Dennis a fair bit over the last year, so I figured we'd do what we normally do. Wander the streets and go for it. There are several things I love about the new 33mm. One of them is 100% the blazing fast autofocus. Okay, let me get out there and say this right now. It is amazing. It is so fast, so incredibly fast that autofocus is a joy. It's also incredibly accurate and it doesn't hunt as much as I thought it would. Yes, I just pointed it at something. It snapped into focus. I've shot a lot from trains and buses and moving vehicles, and wow, it snaps on that. It locks that focus. It does not let go. And it also, like shooting a lot of things that move, so I don't use tracking at all on the bodies. I prefer to use single point or single servo focus and then just manually tell the camera what I want it to focus on. I'm a little bit old school like that. And this lens, no matter what I pointed it on the X Pro 3 bodies, be it a face in the distance, be it a building in the distance, something close up, something that's moving that's close up, it just snapped on that focus and would not let go. And it did this every single time. I think I really enjoyed the fact that I shot a lot of distance type stuff with it. So like, you know, buildings in the distance particularly. And we're talking about a kilometer distance, maybe 100 meters distant. So sort of in that range. And I was amazed to see how sharp the edges of buildings and windows and all of that were. It is really accurate. Obviously, my 35 doesn't do that anymore. It also hunts in the dark. So this autofocus, it's fast. Obviously, it's silent. It's super accurate and it's incredibly responsive. So yeah, big thumbs up for that one. I've shot these sets of portraits with both Dennis and I in motion, moving around, testing that flash, getting some movement in. In addition to that, I've also shot a lot of street with it from moving vehicles. This autofocus snaps on, doesn't hunt, and doesn't let out. And of course, the legendary Fujinon image quality. Color, tonal graduation, contrast, and a wonderful buttery bokeh. The new XF 33mm is as perfect a lens as it gets. There you have it, my thoughts on the new XF 33 f1.4. I pointed it at just about everything I had the opportunity to point it at in the couple of weeks that I had it, before I went and did my knee in and then couldn't shoot anymore. But I think Fuji has really nailed it here with this lens. Everything you would want from a new piece of glass is in this lens. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It is absolutely perfect. The rest, what remains is for the rest of us to just get out there, use it, and make the best work that we can. What I also didn't mention was that I actually shot a lot of footage with this glass. When my friend and I, Dennis, were out in the streets walking around, I followed him with the 33 on the X Pro 3 actually, and just walked around with it and just to see how it would perform on video. It is actually a really, really nice lens to shoot video with. Because it's an internal focusing motor, for the autofocus and tracking is all silent, unlike the older lenses, which, you know, do make a little bit of a racket when it comes to autofocusing, and which is particularly noticeable if you shoot video with it. This was really nice. I set it to track, pointed it at Dennis, and away we went. So I did make a lot of video that and didn't end up in either my promo movie or really anything else. It's just for my archives. I would actually highly recommend this lens as a video lens as well, and I use it as a video lens going forward myself. So yeah, just wanted to put that one out there. That autofocus and low light capability and just the pin sharpness and just the beautiful optics are really good for both motion and stills. Yep, go.
Wow, and thank you to Charlene for that incredible presentation. Fantastic pictures.
Yeah, it's always fantastic. She's a really skilled photographer, and you see her documentary style and how she actually uses the sensors and colors and everything. It's really love it. Sad that she's not here, but this was a good walkthrough. And I think some of the things was the duality, video and stills, that the linear motor is actually putting it in the dual direction. And it was small enough. It's not that big. I have the lenses here, and if you see this is the difference in size. It's not that huge a difference, and it's actually almost the same diameter. So the size is really handy, and it's really good. It's sharp, yeah. It's the bokeh, and it's blistering fast. It's crazy. It's really fast. With the back focus button and so on, it blew my mind when I tested it. It's crazy. I still love my 35 1.4. It will be in my bag too, along with this one. So fantastic.
And you all also got a little preview of parts of the promo movie, which is coming out very soon. So keep an eye out for that. Charlene also wanted us to point out that at some point she says there's a 20 centimeter, what's it called?
Yeah.
Focusing distance, and that's from the tip of the lens.
Yeah. And it's 30. So the near field is 30.
30 from the sensor, apparently.
Yeah, from the sensor. Yeah.
Just a little clarification. Yeah. And go follow Charlene on Instagram to keep up with the photos, and you can also ask her questions, and we hope you get well soon. Yeah. And I think it's time for Jonas.
Yeah. So Jonas, from the
still here.
Yeah, you're still there.
Yep.
Yeah. You maybe recognize some of the stuff that Charlene said about the 33, but you will come into that, I'm pretty sure. So you can actually...
Yeah, I'm going to talk about it. Yeah, a little bit, but not too much, since she already said most of it. So yeah. Where did that smoke come from?
Sitting smoking in the shed, or...
He's on fire. No, I wasn't supposed to be doing this because, as all of you probably heard, Charlene busted her knee, and I was asked if I could give an opinion because, as always, Fuji sent these lenses because I need to take photos of them. So I did, and I've been shooting both the 33 and the 23 for, well, the 33 also for a couple of months, but the 23 for a little while shorter. But apparently not that many 23s going around these days. So I thought it would be probably more fitting if I talked about that one, since Charlene already touched down on the 33. So yes, but
I'm looking forward to that one. So
but it's not gonna be all me and lights and smoke machines and stuff like that. It's just I'm gonna put on a slideshow, since I can actually try to do this live, which is always convenient. Let me see. So what happens if I press this one? There we go. All right. Yeah, and then I just maybe need to figure out how to move myself, but Fleming found that button a long time ago. So that's perfect. All right. So yeah, this smoke machine just keeps on going, doesn't it? All right. So, but thank you so much to Ip and Fujifilm Nordic for the invitation to just take over for Charlene while she's getting her surgery done. I'm going to talk a little bit about my thoughts on the 23 millimeter mostly, and then a little bit on the 33. But for those of you in the room that does not know me, I'm Jonas Rask, and I have been an X-photographer for quite some time now. I'm not the new kid on the block anymore, that's for sure. I'm getting older. I started out doing street photography, and I'm kind of these days I'm perfecting it quite a lot. Some years back I tended to just spread into everything. I got kind of a kick out of people telling me that I couldn't photograph that, and then I went out and did it. So, but I'm now an old cat, and I don't have to prove myself to anyone. So now I'm just really focused on my street photography and also preserving memories from my family. And for that, I've always been using the X100 series. It's what made me start back in the beginning with Fuji, and that's a 23 millimeter focal length. So that is by far my favorite focal length. Also, the second camera from Fujifilm I got was the X-Pro1, and it had the as you just heard Charlene talk about, the XF35 1.4, and I'm on my second lens now of that, because the first one I actually wore it down. It just fell apart, and the glass, it had splinters in it. I wore down the lens. So I'm on my second one now, and that's also showing some signs of wear and tear, but it's by far my favorite prime from Fujifilm. So that they finally updated it, it's a big heritage to kind of go after, right? But yeah, enough about me. So today I'm just gonna talk a little bit about what I thought was very interesting about the 23 millimeter. When you look at the 23 millimeter, it's exactly the same build in regards to lens elements and groups and everything. It's exactly the same as the 33. So the 33 and 23, they're almost exactly the same size as well. I think it has a length difference of a couple of millimeters and also a bit more girth to it, the 23. But other than that, it's the same amount of elements, and it's the same focusing group. So that also means that they perform very, very similarly in focusing regards. They both have this amazing linear focusing motor that you actually usually use for much larger glass, such as the 90 f2, for instance. But here it kind of drives a lot smaller focusing group, so it can focus extremely quick. As if you saw the presentation earlier today, they had some of the engineers from Fujifilm explain that it was actually the smallest focus group in the middle that they kind of moved. So it's really clever. The glass has been updated. It's super sharp. I praised the 18 millimeter when it came out back in the beginning of the year, and I know a lot of people have since praised that a lot. It is by far the sharpest Fujinon lens. It is virtually distortion free. It has all goods of a modern lens. It's definitely a masterpiece, and they took that recipe and then they just continued it to the 23 and to the 33. So sharpness and also the resolution of the glass has been upped. They're now able to resolve a lot more, and as we heard today, it's in expectation of coming larger resolution sensors within the XF series. So maybe we're going to see the XF35 beginning to fall apart, maybe if they're put on high resolution sensors, but we have yet to see. And then also the bokeh was one of the main attractions with the old the 23 1.4. It was really marketed as being one of its strongest traits, and it has exceptionally great bokeh, the old 23. But I just want to say that I like the bokeh of this new one even better. They somehow managed to make it just as good looking, or even better. It reminds me a bit more of the 35 1.4 bokeh, which is some of the best bokeh that you can get from any of the lenses. But again, it's not about shooting out of focus stuff. It's actually about the stuff that you put in focus. So yeah. But I'm just going to see if I can single out some of the things with this lens that I really liked. It's just like the 18mm. It's virtually distortion free. When you look at the lines, obviously now I'm showing you an image that has curved lines, but you can, if you disregard the main curve line, if you look at the edges of the stairs, the steps themselves, you can see they have completely straight lines going from center to deviating out. There's no pincushion distortion. There's no pillow distortion. There's no distortion. It's just distortion free. It's exceptional. So that's the same thing as the 18mm. It's just a bit more of a narrow crop with the 23mm, right? Here you can see it. Yeah. Now again, I'm a bit in the way at that lower right hand corner. But when you look at lines going throughout the frame, especially the bottom line, you can see that it's a straight line. There's no curvature. Obviously, the arc at the top is not the one with the curves. I expect you to be adults and see this. All right. Obviously, it has a large aperture. It's a 1.4. I love my X100V. The X100V also features a new iteration of that classic 23 f2.0, but it's the same type of lens. It renders so similarly to the one from the X100V, but you have an extra stop of light. So in dark winter periods here in Denmark, or whenever you just need more light in the club, I know Fleming loves to shoot 16mm, but if he was to venture out into the 23, he might appreciate that they were actually going for a 1.4 aperture with this one. It means you can keep your noise down a little bit. You gain that extra stop and can keep your noise down a bit. Yeah, as I said earlier, the sharpness with this lens is completely ridiculous. He's off center to the frame. This is an uncropped frame. He's off center, and this was shot probably at the optimum aperture of 5.6, but still it's super sharp from corner to corner, even at 1.4, even though you don't really need it at 1.4. But the option is there if you want it. And again, it can resolve in such detail. I mean, the sensors that we have now, you cannot see that resolution, but you can actually see the resolution. There's a lot of talk when you go to online photography forums about micro contrast and 3D pop and what else kind of marketing terms. But the thing that you need to note is that just when you actually get a pair of new glasses that actually fit you, the resolution and the sharpness with actually increased contrast and tonal depth and color depth. So when you look at a lens like this, where you have up the resolution, the first thing you'll notice is that it doesn't seem as flat. It doesn't seem as milky. It seems actually to have more depth in the image. So when you see images shot with the 18mm, the 23mm, and also the 33, some people have actually said that they're kind of going into medium format territory. And I can, even though it's not the same, I can definitely see where they're coming from, because one of the biggest traits from the medium format is actually the tonality and the color depth and stuff like that. And that's actually something that you get from added resolution. So it does matter even on the lower resolution sensors, if that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, as I said, the bokeh on this lens is absolutely fantastic. The 33 is a bit more prone to what's called optical vignetting. It's where when you look to the side of the frames, the out of focus, the specular highlights, they get a bit more cat eye shaped. This one has slight of that, as you can see at the top corner, but it's not as pronounced. This is actually at the near focus limit. So this fly is not a regular size fly. It's actually a very, very small fly, because that's the other thing. In comparison to the old 23 f1.4, this one focuses at 19 centimeters from the sensor plane. Yeah, that was 19 centimeters from the sensor plane, or was it front plane? I can't remember.
Yes.
It is sensor plane, right?
Yeah.
But the main difference is that the old one actually it only focused to 28. So those 10 centimeters extra, you can really go in close, and that's the thing where there's a lot of people that actually use this feature with the 16 millimeter 1.4, the 18 1.4 also has this close focus ability, and now the 23 1.4. And the cool thing is that wide angle, when you go in close, it gives such a surreal look, and it's very special to these lenses. So it's something that I actually use a lot. It can give a lot of dynamic to the image, actually. All right. Yeah. These lenses, I have seen sun stars before in lenses. I never actually used them creatively in my work, since notoriously the sun stars from Fujifilm lenses, they go outwards. From, if you go from the sun, they give the sun stars, but they go outwards at the edge. This kind of closes in like little pins. Oh my God, my light is falling down. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. That's the thing in sheds, right? So yeah, sorry. But when you look at the sun stars, this was actually apparent for the first time in the 23 millimeter f2 on the X100V. I noticed these sun stars for the first time, and then again on the 18 millimeter 1.4 at the beginning of the year, I noticed them, and be damned if they're also present in this new line with the 23 and also the 33. It's super hard. I have an image later. It's super hard for a 33 millimeter lens focal length to get these sun stars, but tone it down to f16 and you can shoot directly into the sun. You don't even have to have it to peek behind a building or anything. It just makes a perfect solar flare. So yeah, and this image, I took it seriously yesterday. It was right before deadline for the review. I was in the right spot at the right time for this one. So cool. It's weather sealed. Yay! The old one wasn't. The 23 1.4, the old one wasn't. It had the clutch. Some people will miss that clutch. I never used it. It's still focused by wire, and the old one was as well. Even though it was more manually feeling, it revealed a distance scale, but now we have it electronically in the viewfinder, and I don't miss it much. But it also it keeps the weight and size down when it's not there. But this one is weather sealed, and that is just something that's super cool for me in Denmark, because half of the time it's raining and half of the time it's sun. So it's quite cool that it has that now. All right, that was actually the 23. I'm in a rush. I know. I've written about this in more depth at my blog, so you can go read it if you want to. Okay. The 33 is part of this new trilogy of lenses along with the 23 and the 18 millimeter. And as I said before, they have the exact same build: 15 elements, 10 groups, incredible sharpness, cool resolution, very, very cool looking bokeh. And they have the linear motor. It's got weather resistance. They're the same. What I use the 33 millimeter focal length for, or the 35, is, so as I said before, my favorite focal length is the 23, because I found out after many years that is the way I see the world. I see the world in a 23 millimeter APS-C equivalent focal length. That's what I see. I tell my stories in that focal length. But sometimes I want to single in, and that could be, say, in Corona times, people have been more wary about me photographing on the streets. It could be wintertime after dark. People are more suspicious of people running around with cameras. So I often like, when I need to go closer, to take the 35. And in this instance, the 33, I have not in use. I don't. I haven't noticed the lacking 2mm. It's gotten a little wider since it's now a 50mm equivalent as opposed to the old one being a 52. Those 2mm, I don't miss them, and I don't see any difference. I don't feel I need to crop. The minimal focusing distance from the 33 is similar to the 35, so you can actually get a little closer with the old 35 because you get that added magnification of the extra 2mm, right? But just to stay on subject, I like to do portraiture where you can actually see a little bit of a scene, like you see to the right with Brian, where you can actually see he's standing somewhere, and I'm using some foreground and stuff like that. But what is also cool about these new ones is the 33 1.4 is it's so super sharp, and the high resolution that I talked about before makes sure that you can actually crop in now. You can crop in tighter, even though it's still the same old tried 20 plus megapixel image from the X Pro 3. You can crop in closer because it's just so sharp at 1:1. So you can actually do these kind of cool fill the entire frame with a face kind of portraits. This was shot through a glass window with some raindrops on it, so it's not actually the sharpness from the lens, it's actually more of it's shot through something. And again, the bokeh from this 33mm lens is incredible. Just look at how smooth that is. It's just, you can see that there are leaves, and you can see, but these scales, you can see the texture on the head of the chameleon, right? You can kind of make them up as you go along, but that is some of the texture that will normally render bokeh really horrible, because that kind of micro texture, it will make it fall apart. But look, it even looks good on that texture. So the bokeh from this lens is incredible. Yeah, and the chameleon actually made the X Summit today, I saw. All right. And again, the weather resistance is nice for when you take the kids to the amusement park, or when you get stuck at a tropical rain down torrential pour at the top of the art museum. So you never know what you're gonna end up in. All I can say is that 33mm as well as the 23mm, they're perfect all-round lenses. And if you own one of these Fujifilm cameras and you don't have an X100V, I mean, you should own both of these lenses, because they're perfect lenses. As I said, go to my website if you need more info. I'm going to go in depth more, and I think I can barely start to touch down on all the stuff that I like about these lenses in 15 minutes. Yeah. So, but I gave it my best shot, and yeah.
Really good to see all the pictures, and you pinpointed all the specification on this lens and how they perform. So it's really good, and we will definitely go into the depth. I think you should follow Jonas Rask on his blog site. He will describe more. You can see more pictures. I know that for sure, and I know that if you just follow Jonas on his social media, you'll see pictures coming like a lavine. It's crazy how you can actually produce pictures, so it's fantastic. We have a tight schedule. Thank you very much, Jonas. It was amazing. Later on, we'll post this so you can see it again after we have had the launches of the videos that is top secret tonight. Don't tell anyone. You're the only ones to see the premiere. But once they have been released, you can see this webinar again and look at the questions and cross them. There's a lot of good questions. So do we have time for questions, or should we go on and put them in the end of the session? Fleming, you have the time schedule, and maybe you can.
Yeah, but actually Jonas has been really awesome about answering a lot of the questions already in the chat. So there's a couple left I think we should just save for the end, and then we should now just hit north.
Yeah, way north. Thank you, Jonas. Let's go north. Wow, yeah. Tommy,
hi.
It's you.
Yeah.
You're the wildlife guy from way up north, where it's really cold. It's cold down here, but it's awesomely cold up there.
No, it's not cold here. It's
perfect. Yeah, you say that when it's
T-shirt.
Yeah. You have had the GFX 50 for a spin, and I have actually listed some kind of photography, stuff that this is really good at. It's astro, landscape, architecture, portrait, fine art, product photos, art, macro, and then as I say, slow wildlife. It's not totally slow, but you can actually tell us why you take such a camera into the wilderness and shoot, polar bears and whatever, and you do it in conditions that is sometimes a bit crazy. But take us along on your journey with the GFX 52 and tell us about your journey with that one.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Well, I'm quite pleased to be a part of this family with the FUJIFILM Nordic. And I'm not the sort of photographer that can be really specific on the details, on the quality. I'm more about trust. I'm the sort of photographer that is like expedition, adventure, wildlife, whatever, outdoor. And when I go out, I need to trust my kit. And it has to do the job, because if I'm gone for a week or two or whatever, then there's no turning back. I can't get my gear back. If it's gone, it's gone. And I'm also into the Nordic family, maybe because I often come home with wrecked cameras, like tilting a snowmobile, whatever, snowmobiles and dog sled and so on. But like the wildlife, I'm also into the more speed wildlife. You have to have a lot of movement, and we don't have much light here in the north. But anyway, I got this project with the GFX in June. So they asked, "Can you do this?" And maybe I could do it in Lofoten because it's close to my home. Maybe I could do it some other where I could go to my friends in Kenya. But I decided to go up north to Svalbard. And I think, Flemming, maybe we just start the presentation.
Yeah, here you go.
Yeah, Svalbard. Probably most of you know where it is. And it's freaking close to the North Pole. It's so far north that if you get in a plane from the main settlement, it's like an hour and you're at the North Pole. So that is a challenge. But it's also really good. It's really nice to be there, and I love this place. Let's see if it works there. Well, in the Longyearbyen, in the main settlement, in the capital of Svalbard, reindeers are walking the streets, and those reindeers are wild. It's quite normal. We don't care about that. Sometimes, really rare, you get polar bears into the streets, and then you get some more commotion going on. I have been so lucky. I've been working at Svalbard for several years, and I have many good friends who I have been for many years going out in the field with. And without those friends, this project wouldn't be able to do for Fujifilm with the GFX 50S2 and the GF 35-70mm project. So I'm totally rely on my friends. When I go out, I don't think project. We more like going on an outdoor trip, and we have an idea about what it would be like, but you never know what in the end would come out of it, because you can't plan for wildlife. Maybe it comes, maybe it's not, and what time it is, and so on. Of this picture, we have me, and we got Silje Marie Votvik, one long-time friend, and she's actually the captain of one of the boats we used. We got Leonie, her dog. She's the really important thing here. She's the polar bear warning dog, so she will tell anything what goes on around us and make us avoid to make a dangerous situation, so we can avoid polar bears, And to the right, we have Mikkel Fix Engelsjön. He's one of the greatest video photographers I ever met, and he have a capacity of working that is really close to myself. This is a 2-week project in the field, and he was working all the time A lot of he's the guy who made this film we're going to see later. On this project, I had Silja as one of the captains, and she was with us all the time, so local. And also we had Stig on the other boat. Instead of using the whole of Svalbard to do, we decided to do just a small part of the ice fjord system, because this is a really exciting place. I love being just out in the ice fjord because you so variety in landscape and wildlife and so on. So I could be there for a week with no problem. I could be there and do the whole project. And I thought, let's do this. Let's work with smaller boats and without going around. So this is typical how we are anchored up. This is the fjord ice that is melting in June. So we have anchored up and have hopefully we not go through the ice. And this is the other boat. This is a way of anchoring also. You have to swim in 2 degrees warm water. So you have the rescue suit. This is Silja. She's the toughest blonde I ever have known. Extremely good in the field to be, and trust. It's all about trust and about. Okay, let's go into here. What about the 50? The thing I like with the 50 is like we have the 100 megapixel with the GFX 100. I actually enjoy working with 50 because as a wildlife and so on, you shoot a lot, and it's all about how much you want to fill up your hard drives with, and it is super sharp. I'm totally impressed with this camera. I'll come back to details later. The size is really small. It's like a little bit larger than the XH1, and still good grip. At Svalbard, I used a lot with the 100-200 millimeter, and also the 1.4 teleconverter, but most of the time just with this one. But you see, it's really small, and I can't carry much. I have to bring less, really little, on into the field because I have to climb the mountains. I have to be out there. So this is just the right size for a medium format. And I've been working with the Pentax 6x7 analog cameras in the early years, so I know what weight should be like.
We if you take 3 lenses and the camera, and 3 standard lenses is 2.8 kilos. That's nothing for a medium format camera.
No, exactly.
Some other cameras, full frame or something, is weighing way more, twice double the weight. So
yeah,
so it is light and it's not small, and that's crucial for you when you travel these hard conditions and walk a lot and so on.
Absolutely, and for all photographers in the same sort of way I work, this is good. Svalbard, why Svalbard? In June we got the midnight sun and it's total bright. So we actually all the pictures we have in the project is almost all of the pictures are taken in night light because we got midnight sun. Daytime light is boring, a little bit lower at the night. So we turned the night into day and worked from. We got up at 4 o'clock in the evening. Had breakfast at 6, we were out of the door, starting working through the night. In bed about between 5 or 8 or 9 in the morning. So and Svalbard is really special. There's no vegetation, so everything is out in the open. It's well, you got snow, you got glaciers, you got all those. Special, and you see this is taken around midnight, or I can't remember, 2 o'clock at night. Polar bear, you might get lucky. Don't go to Svalbard if you want to see polar bears, because you maybe not. But if you, so for me, polar bear is a bonus, and often I get them, but they are really rare, and you have to take precautions. And well. walrus is actually one of the more cooler animals I like to do. They are just lying there, farting, making noises, and so on. And this is also at night light, as you see. So I like the. This is the reason why I did this project, and we turned night into day. And so GFX, of course, 15.1 megapixel. What is special with that? Yes, you have the opportunity to do the post cropping, and it's super sharp all the way. This is extremely sharp lenses and the sensor and so on. So I can trust that this is gonna be good images. It's gonna provide with good images. So if you don't get close enough, like here, you go to polar bear, but you don't go close. You can't provoke him, or you have to let him be there and just take shots in distance. So if you don't get close enough, even with all the tele lenses you got, you can still crop into, and you have a really distinct. You see the fur, the furriness here in the animals. It's just lovely. So so to do post cropping with the GFX system, beautiful. A new thing with this camera, same as the new 100, the new type of batteries. Batteries out in the field is extremely important to me. Often I can't recharge, but with the new batteries, you got more power. I had no problem with the GFX 50 actually to be out in the field wintertime also, but there are more. You got more juice in the new batteries. And the special thing that is that you can, with the newer batteries also, you see you can charge by power banks. So so this is that's important.
And you get the 440 shots on the new, so it shoots more than the GFX 100S. Actually, you get more shots on it. It's 440, and that's when you stress the camera a lot, so you probably get more. You probably shoot 600 pictures on a medium format camera.
Yeah.
Okay, if it's really cold, it will level down the juice from the batteries, but it's been extended. So
yeah, I can't wait to test this out. Like when we get to the new winter time and so on.
Yeah.
Okay, where are we? Of course, the price on the camera is just extremely nice. To get a medium format camera with the lens for 50,000 to start as a starter kit with this camera, all the fast autofocus, everything, all the new features. That is, I think they will notice that this is going to be a quite popular camera, and it is good in any way. Like you're doing drive-by shooting, like you have animals popping up, coming suddenly, you don't know what to do, and you just have to feel the images and shoot as they come. No time for thinking, and the autofocus do the job, and it's quick. It's just like using any regular like X camera. I couldn't feel the difference. I were missing the wheels on the top of the XT series because I'm used to that, but hey, that's just habits. So as you see, they are pin sharp. I can shoot fast. I could even at difficult when you had the skuas coming around and it still kept focus. So so it is absolutely a camera that works well under limited light conditions. Here also midnight swim in +2, or probably here in front of the glacier it's colder. Double dared Celia, and yes, she did. She even brought a swimsuit, so she were jumping the icy water. But also, just one chance to do the image, because maybe I could do it to get her to do that jump twice, but then no. So it has to be here. Serial shot, no problem. I got it in the air, several images, and crisp sharp. So as you see, it is really a nice camera for action shooting also. I want to talk a little bit about what is really important to me for why should I use the GFX system, because the X system is super good and they are sharp and everything, but especially with me, I work in the north and we got dark season. I'm 2.5-3 months away from dark season here. If you come to Svalbard, you're only 1 and a little bit more than 1.5 months away from dark season, and then it gets dark. So we work a lot of year in a limited light, still have wildlife. And so, of course, I had the Minasan here on this project here. So the images I will show you now is not from the GFX S2, but still, it will do just the same. Yeah, I'm just waiting for October, November to come so I can do the same thing again. I have this thing on the whale project. And this is a really good example on the whale project. I do, because every year the herring comes into the fjords of northern Norway in Special Fjord, and the whales do follow. And I have this friend, Kari Skibvåg. She's paddling, supping, and so on with this. And the problem is with that, if you shoot at this limited light, you have to boom the ISO. You work at maybe 5,000 to 12,000 or whatever ISO. You have to really push those limits, because the movement of the whale, I have to work under an exposure time of 1,000 to 2,000 parts per second to freeze the moment. And of course, that is the recipe of a lot of color noise. So what people don't maybe think so much about with the GFX system is that you could really, with a big sensor, you could be really nasty on your exposure. You could undershoot at lower ISO at 100 to 400, shoot it dark, and then pull back everything. You can re-extract with a dynamic range. So here you see in the dark there, it's far out there, there's something going out in the dark. And this is what I got of that image. Of course, it's a little bit low res now, but everything came back and I could crop in. So this is one of the most important things I really care for the X sensor. So I could still get beautiful colors and stop movement on my wildlife. Another, yeah.
Yeah, it's also important when you travel in those areas and have to travel light. You could have a 600 millimeter or something really heavy stuff, and with the great light conditions in aperture, but
yeah.
When you have this sensor, you can really do that, and it's you're not doing magic. It is magic. The sensor can actually it takes up the light even though you cannot see it, and and even though you pull it in both directions in the dark and the light, you don't pixelize it, you don't smash, you don't damage the picture. That's why it's so fantastic that you can shoot with medium format and have small lenses with you.
And the same here. This is the bag. I can't bring anything more than this, because this is what I can carry on my shoulder. Because on my back, I always have a backpack with a warm sweater and whatever I need to stay safe or to have it comfortable in the field. This is another example of the capacity of the GFX sensor. So here is Kari paddling in front of one of the family group of orcas. And you see she's quite small, and when you just crop in, this is what you can get. You can even see that it's Ecolite underwater house, and you can see the details on the dorsal fin, so you could identify, and that is really that's impressive. When it comes to an important thing for me also, that's the water resistant. And indeed, I give my kit a hard life. So well, I don't have any pictures where I get spray on something, but at one point I were putting out the anchor, we were working, and I working with the GFX, and actually it's a prototype, as you know, and I said to the boss I said to him, what about if I dropped it, if I destroy this one out there in the field? Well, that's you just have to be careful. And at one point, yes, I fell through the water, and I just had to throw the camera back onto the snow, onto the ice in a safe direction. And I told them, oh, don't bother me, pick the camera, but it was no problem. And it's been a lot of spray, and really, I have tested the weather system, but I trust it. I trust it really. The Fujifilm weather system, it's just trustworthy. I probably use it harder than it's they are guaranteed. But I guess that's also one of the reasons why I'm a part of the family, because that equipment lives a tough life with me. I don't want to talk too much about this, because this is actually just like a teaser, because there's so much things. We got so many stories to tell. So probably Mikkel and me will have another show later on where we go deeper into the Svalbard adventure. I have to say some words about the 35 70 millimeter. It is really small. So when you use this one on the camera as a normal lens, it's super quiet. It's super sharp with fast and autofocus. But you have the collapsibles. This is the first they have developed a new collapsible system. So when you turn off the camera and you just zoom in and click, and the lens goes even more compact. So it takes much less space in your bag than other lenses. So it's really like working with an X system. Yes, Ib. Yeah, we'll see there. It's super compact, and it's easy to work with. You have the screen. I use often the screen instead of the viewer, and it's just super compact. And as I said, at the price as a starter into the GFX system, I wouldn't test it. I guess this is the new camera I would use now. I've been an X shooter for many years, but I guess I will be more and more using this, because everything is quite similar working with it. It's so small. So I guess that is what I have right now of images. We will probably come back with a wider story later on with Mikkel on the show.
Yeah, we definitely will. This is just a teaser, and you mentioned some of the really good stuff around the medium format, because for some it's a totally new world, and for other photographers, they look back on old ancient times and tell you cannot work with a medium format like you do, Tommy. But that's exactly what we try to do, to give it to you, because you can actually test the gear like crazy in those environments, and you do that, and it's crucial that you can tell about the durability, the weather resistance, how it works in low light condition, that you can travel light, that you can actually pull out the pictures and everything, work with it instead of crushing stuff. So you get your images when you go into such conditions, and you are safe there and secure that you get your pictures with you back again, because you don't go to Svalbard. It's expensive, it takes time, and you have to prepare. So this is a good example how durable and how crazy it is that we can bring along a medium format camera with a stabilizer, small, compact, light, shoot 400, 500, 600 pictures, maybe less when it's really cold, but that's the conditions. It's like electrical cars won't drive that far either. But to be able to do this in such a size is amazing. And you have proven some of the stuff that we will go into the depth with during the late summer, and tell people about this, because this is really a competitor to full frame. If you consider to step up from APS-C or smaller sensor and you want a large sensor, think about it. If you have these astro, landscape, architecture, portrait, fine art, wildlife as you do, macro, some of the stuff, it's really good for that. Don't go down on resolution and quality, bokeh, colors, rendition, or whatever. We can tell a lot about that. You get really worth the money in this one. And you say below 50,000 NOK, and it's really, for such a system, cheap. It will cost money, but it's really cheap in comparison, and even cheaper than some of the smaller systems.
Yeah, and with the size, you could even have, like, if you really want to invest to have two houses, so you don't need to swap. If you're a field photographer, you don't need to swap between the normal lens and the telephoto lens.
Yeah.
So in my bag, normally it would be like the 35-70 millimeter, and as landscape, I would use the 23 millimeter, and the 100-200 millimeter. You have also the 250, but I need to have more versatile lenses when I'm traveling, when I'm working on. And also you have the GF 1.4 teleconverter.
Yeah.
So that's the stuff I bring with me. I can't bring anything more because I'm too old. I'm just getting too exhausted when I need to climb a mountain and do whatever and jump on the beaches, and yeah.
And we keep on building the system, as you maybe saw early on, we will end up with 17 lenses to the system, and we have about 40 in the X system. So we have the complete light X series, and then you have the huge sensor and the new system for the high-end picture quality. So fantastic. We'll go into the depth with it and show something about filming and movie and video, etc. also. So that's why we want to invite you and Mikkel back later on, and Charlene, of course, and Jonas will probably pop up with some exciting stuff more into the depth, and we will do some presentation about that. And do you have something you want to say, Flemming?
I was just going to say that we have a back program. We are running a little short on time, but we do still have the option of world premiere of Tommy and Mikkel's incredible movie.
Yeah.
It's about 5 minutes, I think. Yeah. And that could be kind of a nice end before we come back here and kind of wrap it up.
Yeah, I think we should do that. Let's see that.
Yes, Mikkel is a magician.
Yeah.
Okay, so for all you wonderful viewers out there, we have a world premiere for you. And I am just going to start playing. So let's all turn off our videos and enjoy the movie.
This is how large I allow me to carry on. Every time I come up here, whatever the month is, the scenery, the landscape is totally changed. It's like landing on the moon, only that I return to my second home. My name is Tommy Simonsen, an official FUJIFILM X photographer from Harstad, Norway. The pre-test project with a GFX 50S2 has been special in every way. Although I am a northern Norwegian, I've always been searching even further north. My north is the archipelago of Svalbard. The project was set to mid-June. At this time we have the midnight sun. We have many months of dark season in the winter, and then we're talking complete darkness. The transition from darkness to total brightness goes fast. The nature doesn't come back to life during spring in May and June. It explodes back to life. Almost the whole GFX 50S2 project is shot in night light. look at this little baby. It's so small and lightweight. This is what I've been waiting for. It's indeed a weather sealed camera because I fell through the ice and I just had to throw this camera out on the ice. It's been out in the weather on the boat and splashing. You know, the weather sealing is for sure good. The 50 megapixel sensor, the medium format, it's quite enough. It's just I can zoom in and it's crisp, sharp. To me, it's just enough with 50 megapixel. The oldest and best way to get out for my mind is by dog sled. Your furry companions will always welcome you with joy. Going by dog sled is not about getting there, but about the journey on the way. When I got my hands on the FUJIFILM GFX 50S2 for the first time, I thought, yes, this is it. This is what I need to make my days out in the field easier, providing me with a superb quality. From the early years, I've been inspired by all stories of adventures in the ice, the variety of types of rare landscapes, wildlife, and especially breathtaking dramatic history and the remains of this. I have to stay on the alert all the time. Wildlife might suddenly approach, and the light conditions will for sure suddenly change. Everything about getting around takes time. Bringing enough fuel and supplies in case we get weather stuck. We were actually stuck in one fjord for the last days.
Det var ganske super nice.
Ja, det var ganske super nice. Altså.
Jeg fotograferer på meg en hjerneskade. Ja.
Incredible. So fantastic.
It's really good.
Yeah, it is really good. Mikkel did a tremendous job, and you're a great movie star, so fantastic. I can see this movie over and over again, but it describes the environment that you are in. It's phenomenal. So.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get because, well, suddenly the polar bear, he was there about 5 a.m, and, you know, the weather and the last days we had to stay there. We almost lost the flight back home. Yeah. We had to stay there for the 2 days extra because not a chance to get out. And then we just had to do something else and had to plan. So, yeah. But whatever we do, something cool would happen.
Yeah. Fleming, we actually made it. It was really compressed this evening, but it was a recap of everything and teasers for what is going to happen and what we're going to tell about. And we're going out in the shops and doing demos and so on. So check out our Facebook sites in each country and the FUJIFILM X.com site where events are posted too. so we can show you what we're actually working on and what's coming very soon, beginning October. If we start to deliver in the Nordics. So, and you've given us a really good ride, Charlene and Jonas and Tommy. You gave us a really teaser, and I hope that you've enjoyed it out there in the crowd, and you want to go to the shops and test it out and see it for yourself and try it out. You should do that. Fleming, we have been looking forward to this evening, the two of us, and having these two guys and Charlene at the side. What are we supposed to do now? Because I don't want to end this. Good questions out there. Are there anything that we should answer in last minute, or should we invite the people back to the recaps of the extended versions of all this? Or?
I think that everyone did a tremendous job of doing great little teaser presentations of all that great work with the new products. And there's so much today, and we have so much content too, that it's really like a very packed webinar. And I think also everyone out there has been very busy watching all the content and taking it in. There hasn't been that many questions, and we've covered most of them in the chat already, I think.
Yeah.
And you can, of course, find FUJIFILM Nordic on Instagram. You can find Jonas, Tommy, Charlene on Instagram. You can find me at Ip on Instagram as well.
Yeah.
And chat with us. And great job keeping the time too. That's pretty spot on.
Yeah, it is. So
I think we should just invite everyone back to the follow-up webinars it's probably that's gonna happen in the coming months, where we go into details, because obviously there's so much more to talk about, all these exciting products.
Yeah. And we can promise you, at least in Denmark and in the Nordics, that there will be test kits on this 50S, and some of the stores will lend out the camera for a short period so you can test it. There's opportunities for that, because you have to feel it and see it, and you have to look at those files and crush it, and you have to look at the lenses from the X series that we actually launched today, see the crispiness and the bokehs and so on. Go to the shop, make some test shots, maybe borrow it if it's an option and possible. Shoot some pictures to your SD card, go home and look at the pictures and see what the Fujifilm world is about. You probably get really happy and satisfied with looking at those files. So thank you very much, Jonas. Thank you very much, Tommy. Thank you very much, Fleming. And to Charlene, thank you very much. Get well soon and get back to us. This has been a fantastic evening. And especially thanks to all of you joining tonight and following us. You probably want to look at all the reviews from Jonas or Tommy, etc., all over the world. The FUJIFILMX.com site will give you loads and loads and tons of material and stuff to think about and where to spend your money right. Contact the local dealers, get the professional help. They are educated in Fuji, or ask us on forums, etc. If you have any questions, we'll try to answer them as good as we can. Feel free. We love it. This is our life, and we just work with Fujifilm, and that's what it's all about for our side of the bed, whatever you call it. Yeah.
I have a lot of direct answers, questions on, for example, the Instagram. So please send to us and we'll answer. Yeah.
Jonas, anything to wrap it up?
I'm so silent. It's not like me, but it's probably the calmness of all this wood and the shit. I don't know.
There was something in the smoke.
I could see the desperation in your eye, going like, "Is he gonna say something? This is very unlike him. Is he well? Is he sick?" But I'm doing good. I was just listening. I mean, the video from Tommy was super, super, super cool. So I was just enjoying. That was really, really cool. And I miss the Nordics. I miss Iceland actually for one. But I'm Norway next. I think should be pretty cool. Yeah. Cool.
Tommy, anything to wrap it up? You'll be back in another webinar. Anything to tell the audience out there?
I'm totally stoked with the new GFX 50S2. It's like, yes, I would never go back.
Yeah.
No.
And we know you, and we know that you're really excited about this product. So you can't fake anything. So when you like it, you like it.
Yeah, I'm not full of words. I can't do all those crisp words, but it's like either it works or it's not, and it's all about trust. And yes, it's good shit. It's pretty good. Yes. Let's see that.
It's good shit.
That's a quality stamp. It's good shit. So,
they have really made a tool for us. They really made a tool.
It's a hammer. It is a hammer, and it should be. So really. Fleming, you're also going to try out some GFX and other stuff, and maybe you'll take the challenge to use the 23mm, the new one, when it arrives. At your...
Yeah, I need it next week. Can it be done by Saturday?
Yeah, we'll try to.
You have to get through. So there's an axe there. If you get past that one, then it's right there. Come get one.
That's the secret storage room he's in. It's secure. So yeah. Thank you, Jonas. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you, Fleming, for making the technician and technical stuff work. And thank you to all of you out there. We'll be back. Look and listen and follow us on all our social media sites, and see you soon again. Take care out there, and a very good night from my side. Good night to all of you guys, and see you soon, Charlene, and see you all soon. Stay tuned.
Take care, guys.
Good night.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.